welcome to the link. If this is your first time joining us, thank you. And if you've watched any of the series on relationships, parenting, fertility, thank you as well. And I hope you're going to be a new subscriber. Join us on this new episode. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. We're welcome to session 11 of Find the Link Parenting. And this session is about supporting parents. Big thank you to everyone who's come quite early. We're going to be starting right away, and I'm happy to say that our speakers are with us. So we have two speakers on the poster, and we have someone else who's going to be a contributor who will be meeting shortly. I'm hoping the connection stays great. So I will just be introducing them shortly. I don't know who's ready, but I think Dr. Odubanjo is ready to go. But I will start with a brief slide presentation like I usually do. Welcome. So like I said, Temitope, the praising child. You might have met me before because I've been anchoring all the other sessions. And this is Find the Link Parenting. It's about empowering parents and raising change makers. And this is session 11, and the title of this session is called Supporting Parents. The aim of the Find the Link series is to enlighten, empower, inspire, and to give. Last year, September, we started having some sessions on relationships, about 10 in all. And this is the session about parenting, which started over 10 weeks ago. So supporting parents, this is just a very, very, very brief overview. At some point in our lives, we have the privilege of supporting a parent or being the parent being supported. This can happen in the following ways, but it's not exhaustive: parental, pastoral, physical, spiritual. And I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot more from our speakers. So our speakers today are Mrs. Victoria Adebayo, who has been a teacher in the secondary school section in Covenant Secondary School for almost 2 decades, part of management now, a good friend of mine for the last 2 decades as well. And she's going to be talking about her wealth of experience in supporting parents. And we have Dr. Tokunbo Odubanjo, who is a seasoned medic and a specialist in histopathology. She has her family married to a minister. She's a minister herself and has 2 children. And she is doing very, very well in her profession and in ministry. And we have another speaker who I think will be joining us, and she is Dr. Ajibola Oshiri. Initially Russian trained, but I had the privilege of meeting her in GP training, and she's an amazing lady and will be giving us some perspective about supporting parents. Okay, so there we are, looking all glam. All right, and next on Find the Link Parenting is going to be safeguarding children and young people. And we have 2 great speakers, both of them medics in different spheres and specialties, who are going to be giving us their perspective about safeguarding children and young people. It's also going to be the last of our public Zooms. There are going to be 4 more in-house sessions in the month of August that are going to be titled Parenting Lessons. And we're going to have different speakers on the weekends. For those that are in the in-house WhatsApp group, feel free to join us. So as I've mentioned, we have an online group on WhatsApp. We do have weekly prayers and discussions on there. The aim is to learn and share. There is a form that you might fill if you're interested. We love feedback. There would also be a feedback form at the end of this meeting. Thank you. Replays are on YouTube, Temitope Praising Child. Feel free to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, which is Living Your Dreams with the Praising Child, or my personal handle on Facebook, which is Temitope Praising Child. Apologies that not all the sessions are on YouTube yet. It's been a bit of a busy time, but there are 3 sessions on there that would be very helpful. If you want to send personal feedback, you can feel free to send it to my Gmail account. Thank you. And we have a motto for these meetings, and it is, I and the children God has given me, we are for signs and wonders. And that is what we believe would be our testimony and our testimonial at the end of this time. So very, very briefly, I would be bringing up our speakers. Victoria, are you ready to go first, or should we delay your session till after? You're muted. You're muted. You need to unmute yourself.
Whichever one you choose.
You said what?
Whichever one you choose.
Whichever one I choose. Okay. You cannot charm me with this, your smile. It's going to be first come, first serve. So I'll let Dr. Odivan just speak first. Thank you for joining us. I'll give you some time to have some water and a breather.
Good choice.
Good. So welcome, Dr. Odubanjo. Okay, so I introduced her as histopathologist, specialist, minister. She's also an amazing friend, and she also happened to teach me in medical school. So happy to have you with us, Dr. Odubanjo. Thank you. Hello, Dr. Odubanjo. I'm not sure we can hear you, so I don't know whether you have to share again, but click on the sound button on your screen. I can't hear you.
She's still muted. No, she's muted.
She's muted.
Okay, I'm still muted. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, very well, very well. Thank you so much for inviting me, and well done for all the good work. It's been wonderful sessions. You know, I was telling her a few weeks ago, I said, these sessions, I don't want to multitask, you know, as I join them or I listen to them, because I feel that it's all high value information, and we should focus and try and, you know, soak in as much of it as we can. So I want to just be there and not do anything else as I'm attending these sessions. So today I've been asked to talk about supporting parents. Okay. So a bit of introduction about myself and why we would be talking about supporting parents. Just to prove to you that I need support constantly. I'm a daughter of a Most High God, which is where I draw the support from. My greatest support comes from there. I try to stay plugged in all the time, because there are times when you just feel like you're overwhelmed by it all. You feel like it's not just being busy, it's not the many forks in your fire, it's just feeling pressured by so many things. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a minister of the gospel. My husband and I pastor a church in Lagos. And I'm also a renal pathologist. In October 2019, I'd been invited to talk about work-life balance. And I'm sure from outside, I must have come across to the organizers of this conference as someone who had it together. But that's where all that ends. It's all a facade. This is me constantly finding support and trying to make it work. I suffer from mom guilt sometimes. When I'm out in 2009, I had gone for this 1-year training in the US, and I was away from my children. I dropped my very young children off on my husband. He was having to take care of them, something that he hadn't done before then. And I was completely racked by all the mom guilt, you know, just constantly feeling like, you know, I could do better than this. I could be home for the children, and I wasn't there. So what does it mean to be supported? Support, I looked in the dictionary, it says is to bear all or part of the weight of someone who just makes your burden lighter by taking some of the burden off you, or just being a partner in your journey. Someone who gives you assistance is someone who supports you. And support system basically follows from that. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, the Bible says 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. The bit of it that I like most of all of these verses is verse 10, where it says, pity the one who falls without another person to help him up. When you build your support system, it's not for when things are going well. Your support system becomes most useful to you when you're really struggling, when you need a shoulder to lean upon, when you need someone to share your troubles with. That's when your support system is most useful to you. There are different ramifications of support. There's emotional or affirmational support. In the parable of the lost sheep and the lost coin, it's very interesting. Luke 15. This person had 10 coins, had one missing. And then when she found that one coin, the Bible records that she called all her friends, all her neighbors, and said, I found the coin that I was looking for. The reason we would do that, the man who lost his sheep also has 10 sheep, lost one, and then called all the friends and all the neighbors to rejoice with him because now he had found his lost sheep. What was all that about? It's because success is not so sweet unless we're sharing it. Until you call someone and you say, oh, look what the Lord has done, or look what promotion I got at work. It's just not the same. It's not as interesting. It's not as much fun as when you are sharing it. Belonging support is related to that. Belonging support is what the Bible was talking about in Acts 4 verse 23, about the disciples returning to their own company. Sometimes someone is just your personal person, and you draw a lot of support from just being in the person's company. It doesn't matter what you talk about. Sometimes what you are doing is you are sharing trivia. The content of your conversations may not really matter. What it is you are fellowshipping with someone you trust, you love, and someone who you just really feel yourself with. You don't have to weigh your words. You know, sometimes when we're having conversations, you find yourself being very careful, being guarded, weighing your words. Temitope Praising Child is one of the people that I can talk to. I just open my mouth and just talk. You know, I can completely be myself with her. So that's what belonging support is. A friend called me early one morning and said, Tokes, my daughter has gained admission into ISI. So my husband was making fun of us. My husband said, the way she called, you would think that her daughter gained admission into Cambridge. I said, it doesn't have to be anything special. Yes, it's trivial, but it makes me happy. It makes me fulfilled. It's competitive. Not everyone gains admission into this school, and my daughter gained it, and I want to share it with you because it's more fun if I share it with you. Physical support is you delegating things. There's something that Yoruba people call the work of deification. My mom used to say, if you tell her, Mommy, let me help you with that, she'll say, no. This is the work of deification. I need to do it myself. Because no matter how busy you are, you're not going to send someone to go to the toilet on your behalf. So certain things you just must do yourself. You can't ask someone to help you to get intimate with your husband. That you must do yourself. I can't ask someone to do my pathology for me. That I must do myself. But everything else, sit down and prayerfully consider what you can delegate. Because many times, because you have many forks in your fire, you end up not being effective at anything at all. You're not a good mom, you're not a good wife, you're not a good pathologist, you're not good in any area at all. So delegation is extremely very important. In many parts of the developed world, people will do what is known as carpooling. And that is maybe your children go for swimming lessons Saturday mornings. Instead of you driving 2 hours to go and drop your children at the place where they have a swimming lesson and then having to pick them up later, you and a parent who lives on your street can say, you drop them off in the morning, I will pick them up in the afternoon. It makes the work a little easier. You can get a domestic help. If maybe you live in Nigeria or places where domestic assistance is cheap, you can get an au pair if you live abroad. But be realistic about what you can get through on your own. Be willing to ask for help. There's no award for the most stressed, the most tired mom, or the most stressed or the most tired dad ever. So When help is offered, accept it and ask for help all the time. Ask your parents, ask your sister, can you watch my children for tonight? I need to finish a project. Use all of these things. There's also informational support, which maybe is a part of pastoral support. The Bible says in the multitude of counselors, there's safety. There's a Yoruba wise saying that he that asks for direction does not miss the way. If you are careful to always ask someone for direction, people who have walked the path ahead of you. I remember when I just had my son, I wasn't lactating as I should, and I was feeling less than a mom just because I wasn't lactating very well. It became bigger than it should have been. I was feeling less than because the milk wasn't flowing as it should have, and I determined that I was going to do exclusive breastfeeding. So finally, this was me having to humble myself and accept feeding my child with formula. And they had said to us, when they had counseled us at the antenatal clinic, they had said to us, they said, it's not good to feed children with feeding bottle. That how you want to feed children is with cup and spoon. So I would try to feed him with cup and spoon, but it was in the early period, and it was formula. So it was light. Most of it will fall on top of the mother and the child and not quite in the child's mouth. So the child will be, struggling and trying to grab the food, and it wasn't working. Finally, I went to a wedding one afternoon. I met this auntie whom we used to call Dr. B. She got married a little late. I think she must have been late into her 40s when she got married. And now she had a baby. And it was time to feed her baby. And she brought out a feeding bottle. And she was a pediatrician. So I said, auntie, how can someone like you be doing this kind of thing? And she said, the people who are making these rules, do they even have children? And that settled it for me. I'd struggled for weeks until that happened. It was such a blessing. It was such a blessing that I happened to be at that event and I could learn this and not keep struggling. One of my friends said to me that I said to her, my mom said, you must always iron children's clothes because ironing will kill the germs on the clothes. These are clothes that we are spreading on a clothes hanger on the balcony. We don't spread it on the floor. We don't spread it on the line downstairs. But my mom said, you must iron every single thing that your child wears. So I was ironing everything until one day, my child was maybe 4 and I was talking to this lady and the lady said, I said, do you like to iron? She said, no, I've never ironed any of his clothes before. And she had a baby who was about as old as my baby and had survived. So sometimes you don't label if you ask the right questions, if you interface with the right people. So ask a lot of questions and seek support. Different ramifications of support. There's support from within the nuclear family. I tell my husband and the children all the time, the greatest burden that I bear is knowing that if I don't do something, it will not be done. So if in the evening we all eat dinner and there's some food left over, if I don't come and do one last check in the kitchen, we might leave the leftover food on the kitchen counter. It ought not to be that way. Each individual part of this family should bear his own part of the work. Once you do that, then no one will be stressed. And this is critical for every family to know. I just need to feel like, what if I even forget to go down one more time to go and check the kitchen? Would someone have thought of putting things back in the right places? Support from the extended family. Accept help all the time. When my mom arrived to help take care of my older sister's first child, and they were going to bathe the baby, my mom said to my sister, I'm sorry, but I've never bathed a newborn baby before. Because when she was having her children, her mom would come in those early weeks, when her child is 4 weeks or less, sit with her, and because her mom was with her in Ibadan, 2 aunties would come intermittently during the day to come and help her mom. And bathing the newborn baby would never be her problem. But the times have changed. Many of the grandmothers, even if they are in the same town with you, they are busy with church or busy with some NGO that they're doing. The grandmothers are very actively engaged these days, or they may even still be in service. So that newborn baby, you will have to bathe the newborn baby yourself. So, but whatever help you can get from the extended family, in those days also, you would have cousins, younger ones living with you. The home that I grew up with at any time would have 14 to 16 people, but it's not usually the same anymore. The last one, my paternal grandmother, her favorite saying, she would say it in our local dialect, but the long and short of it is, if you haven't got yourself, you haven't got anyone. You have to be on your own team. You have to watch out for your emotional and mental well-being. Accepting help is part of you doing the best by yourself. Don't try to be a superwoman. You're not going to get a cape, a superwoman cape. So be on your own team. Take care of yourself. The next thing I'm going to talk about before I stop is that as you are getting support, it's important to build meaningful friendships. And I can't overemphasize the importance of that. In Proverbs 18:24, the Bible says, a man of many companions may come to ruin. If you have too many friends, we have said in the multitude of counselors, there's safety, but it doesn't mean that you should have like 100 people advising you. You have to be very careful about who you listen to. They say if you want to know where someone would be in the next 10 years, watch the 5 closest friends that they have. Because these are the people they talk to, these are the people they share ideas with. They're going to become like them. It's a natural law. Immediately you think of having, if somebody tells you that they have 2,000 friends, they're probably not quality friends, because quality friends are not that easy to find. If you're in your 30s or you're in your 40s, you probably know that in all the years that you've lived, you may not be able to count more than 5 friends that you really trust in. So it's, for friendship is quality and not quantity. Meaningful friendships are really hard to come by, but they're useful. They're useful. The Bible says most men would proclaim each his own goodness, but who can find a faithful man? Faithful, loyal friends are very difficult to come about. But they're blessing if you find them, because Proverbs 17 verse 17 says, a friend loves at all times. Other versions say a friend is loyal at all times. You can, extremely dependable, you can rest on this person, and a brother is born for a time of adversity. One of the things that we tend to do as people is to seek help, feel like we just must talk to someone. I just must talk to someone. A problem shared is a problem solved. Even the needing to talk to someone is a weakness in itself. One of the things that I have had to learn is to tell it to Jesus. Because sometimes you want, the fact that someone is a pastor doesn't necessarily mean that the person is always big on wisdom. This is the difference between a man of God and the God of man. Sometimes you find a pastor who will judge your matter based on what biases that he has. You tell him, excuse me, sir, I've been trying to convince my husband where we want to buy a washing machine. I'm too tired. I'm too stressed. And the man of God says, how did you grow up to be this age that you didn't know that washing machine doesn't wash clothes clean? What kind of family are you even from? Because, if we're well brought up, it's your husband that should be suggesting washing machine. And you will say, no, we can't use washing machine. It doesn't wash clean. So he will be judging your matter from his biases. So prayerfully consider who to talk to about any issue, who to take counsel from. The Bible says, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. The more contemporary versions say, guard your heart, mount a guard on your heart, and be very, very concerned about how you mount a guard on your heart. Be careful what goes into your heart, because it affects the course of your life. So you really need to be careful who you listen to, who you take counsel from. The other thing about building meaningful relationships is that you need to be a friend yourself. There was a time I woke up one day and all my friends were gone. We had moved to Lagos. Before we even moved to Lagos, when we lived in Ibadan, most of our friends had gone out of the country or moved to other cities. I just woke up one morning and I didn't have any friend in the same city with me. any of these my wonderful people that I can completely be myself with. None of them was there. Yes, we would continue to speak on the phone, but it's not the same as when you've put the children to sleep in the night. My closest friend, my chief bridesmaid at my wedding, she would just come at maybe 10 p.m. She would have been working all day, also a doctor at UCH. She would have been working all day and then stop by to visit me late in the dead of the night. And we would just sit down and act like time is going nowhere. And that time of fellowship, I would just leave really rejuvenated and, just talking to her. So everyone was gone. And I was saying to God, I don't have any friends, bless me with friends and everything. And God said to me, he that must have friends must show himself friendly. Proverbs 18:24. This is how the KJV renders it. And this is, you reach out and be a friend to someone. And what needs to be done is you showing kindness. Look at someone who is not smiling enough and go and meet her and say, hello, how are you? How is everything? Are you okay? Write a note, share words of kindness. This is how to find friends. So, and as you go on, then you find who really would be a loyal friend when you have a time of adversity. The other thing is that you need to explore different avenues for finding meaningful friendships. There's a scripture that says, do not forsake your own friend or your father's friend. To me, that means there are many avenues that would be presented to you for finding friends. Potentially, someone who starts up as your father's friend could be the person who gives you the most support in life. It might be, and age is just a number. Age doesn't mean anything. Sometimes you are 50, and the person who blesses you the most, the person you love to talk to the most, is 20 years younger than you. Sometimes it's 20 years older than you. Oh, he's the grandma in the next house. Every time I talk to her, I just feel lifted. As we share experiences, I just feel lifted. It says, because better is a neighbor that is nearby than a brother who is far away. The things you might need, if you need an emergency and your sister lives 2 hours away, before you get to your sister's house, things might have changed completely. So there's a place for a neighbor, there's a place for a brother. Sometimes you find a neighbor who supports you more than even your own sister or your sibling does. So explore all of these avenues. The third thing is that you need to avoid toxic relationships. There's some people who just thrive on drama. They just like to cause trouble. When you finish talking to them, you feel like you have carried a burden. You're just tired. You feel worn out. When you have been talking to them for 30 minutes, you just feel really tired. You need to distance yourself from such people. Sometimes as children of God, we focus on as much as life with you, be at peace with all men. And we insist that whether it's working, whether the person is harassing you, whether things are changed, I just must stay in this relationship. You should know when to leave. You should know when to modify the relationship. There's one meme that says, walk away from fights that would never be resolved. When it's a new issue every day, you finish resolving this one, people help you mediate the matter. You talk to the person, you ask for forgiveness. Next week, they're angry again. They say if a relationship costs you your peace of mind, that relationship is too expensive and you ought not to be part of that relationship. So just move on and not do that relationship. How do you avoid toxic relationships? You need to prayerfully decide whether it's time to take action. When you talk to people about, oh, this person, this relationship is too much for me to handle. Many times people would say, you're just reading meanings into innocent actions. There's nothing there. You're just being paranoid. But if you are going to act on signs, it's the same cues that you will pick on, and your discernment will lead you to take action. So you need to be able to tell the difference and say, because you can't be dead to whatever is going on. When people are showing you their true picture, you don't want to ignore it and say, no, there's nothing there. That you need to sometimes take action based on this. You also need to watch out for changes in situations. The fact that one day you were testifying of God's goodness concerning that situation doesn't mean that it's still relevant in your life today. In the children of Israel, we're going to be wiped out completely by famine. But because Joseph had gone ahead of them and had been sold into Egypt and had appropriately interpreted the dreams of the king, they had stored away food and there was food. So yes, at that time it was a blessing. But the Bible says in Exodus 1 verse 8 that now a king who did not know Joseph had come into power in Egypt. So now there's no respect being served. There's no kindness being served. Yes, it used to be very good, but it's not very good anymore. I find instructive in Genesis 31, where Laban and Jacob had this business partnership that wasn't really working. Laban started out really cheating him. Now the Lord had maybe taught him the wisdom to finally be able to break through in this relationship. And when he started doing it, he became richer than Laban. And Laban's son began to, spread rumors about him. This guy is taking, we don't know what he's doing, but this guy is taking all our father's riches away. The Bible says in Genesis 31 verse 2, they said, and Jacob saw that their attitude towards him had changed. He didn't ignore it and say, let's just continue to walk in love. And then the Lord said to him, leave, flee. I find that instructive. But yes, you need to take action, but don't be quick to close doors. That's what the Bible is saying when it says, as much as life will be at peace with all men. Even when I've decided that this relationship is not good for me, I often will not close the door. I would modify that relationship, but I won't close the door, because there's that Yoruba way saying that says, even the bad person has his own day of usefulness. You never know. A clock that has stopped is right twice in the day. So don't close the door, but modify that relationship. Take yourself away from that pain. It's not by force that they used to do friendship. If it's not working, then you should move on. And that is the end of my talk. I thank you for listening. I welcome any questions or any personal experiences that you've had along these lines.
Thank you very much, Dr. Oduban. It's been a pleasure listening to you. You may stop sharing your screen right now.
Okay.
See you. Thank you. Awesome. Awesome. That has been really, really great. So many points. I've been writing ferociously. I think where I started writing was that there's no award for most stressed mom or tired dad of the year. Take care of yourself. Let the truth set you free. So she had mentioned some incidences in which she had gotten stuck in some pattern of thinking, and then just hearing something or seeing something had just set her free, that I don't have to do this. Why did I think I needed to do this? And it's been really good. And yes, all the scriptural references for those of us that love the good book, they've been really, really insightful. And I think it's been very helpful, especially for people that have had various experiences with their friendships. So be on your own team. Make use of the resources you have. Learn to delegate stuff. You don't have to do it all. Be careful who you listen to. It's not always that a burden shared is half solved. It depends on who you're sharing it with. So prayerfully consider who to share it with. Know when to leave or modify a relationship. I think this definitely has to do with being able to discern signs of the times, being able to hear things that people are not saying as well as what they are saying. Very important. And if you're a child of God, being able to listen to God. And history, the point about history, I found that really great. Where I come from, country I love, God's own country, there's a lot we haven't learned because we haven't learned our history, and it's been really, really instructive. On that note, I hope some of us went to vote today. Anyway, thank you for sharing. I'm hearing comments. Someone said, thank you, doctor. Avoid toxic relationships. Thank you, Ma. Beautiful presentation. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Odubanjo. It's been an awesome presentation. I'm sure if there are other questions for you before the end of today, we would be able to get to them. So I'll just let our second speaker come up. I think our middle speaker did say she wanted to, I don't know whether she's here right now. I'm not sure she's here right now. So I'll just let you go off the screen so you can have a breather. Thank you, Dr. Devanjo. Okay, so do we have Dr. Ajibola Oshire in the house at the moment? Yes? No? So it's going to give us a few points. I'm not sure she's here yet. If you're here, please give me a shout out. All right, so we'll be going to our next speaker, who is Mrs. Victoria Adebayo. You can unmute yourself, please. Hello.
Everyone, can you all hear me?
Hello, Vicky. It's good to have you with us. So let's hear you. I'll just take myself off the screen. If you want to share, you can just click on the share screen and it should be okay from there. Thank you. Okay, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Like moderator, my friend of many, many years has just told us, I am Adebayo Victoria, and I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher for the past, I think 17 years formally, about 21 years informally, like in training school. So that is why today I'll most likely be talking from a teacher's perspective. I hope that's okay with everyone. All right, so like I said, I'm Adebayo Victoria, and God will help us today in Jesus' name. So you all know it's week 11 of the Find the Link Parenting series, and we are here. All right. Yes, a little bit of small FCD there. So this is my outline, and I must give a big thumbs up and shout out to Dr. Odubanjo. As a matter of fact, I think my fear had been, how will I be able to cover all of these things? I tried, but she has mentioned a lot of the points I had. And that makes us to know that the Spirit of God is one, and we are on track. So just 4 main outlines: definitions, types of parenting, types of support, and how to play our part. So we know this is the 11th week. That means we would have learned a lot about parents, parenting, styles, and everything. But if you're someone like me that joined in the middle, maybe we can just run through this part of the presentation as a recap. So Wikipedia says it's a caregiver of an offspring in their own species. And in humans, the biological parent, like we know, is the one whose gamete resulted in a child. If it's a male through the sperm and the female through the ovum. So that is what most of us are used to as parent. But like the Cambridge Dictionary's definition of who a parent is, it says a parent is a mother or father of a person or an animal. And I like the second part, said someone who looks after a person in the same way that a parent does. That for me is the mainstay of our presentation today. So before we go on to supporting, what do we mean by parenting? It's the art, the process of raising children so that we can give them protection, care, till they get into an healthy adulthood, or rearing in a way to promote and support the physical, emotional, social, intellectual development of the child from infancy to adulthood. So the time that he or she could say, okay, I'm good to be on my own. Parenting refers to the intricacies, and that is the key word I want us to pick today from the parenting definition. Intricacies, that means many-sided. There are a lot of things. There is not like one size fits all thing. So a lot of intricacies involved in raising a child. And that is why it is not just about the biological relationship. That is, you could be the biological parent of the child, but at the same time, you can be the logical parent. Biological, we've mentioned, logical in the sense that giving the support from any other instance where you are able to. like teachers do, like nannies, like caregivers, and the rest. Everything that comes up, aside the fact that you're the one that gave birth to that child, is the one I cap as under the logical parenting. Okay, so when we say support, what do we mean? Like Dr. Also defined for us, bearing all or part of the weight of something, aiding something to keep upright, giving assistance, more often than not financially, or to promote the interest or cause of something. To support someone means you want to help them. You want to just make things easier for them. You want to make life better for them, especially if they need help. It's just like lifting the hands of another to achieve his or her goals. And many at times when we are supporting others, one way or the other, we are getting the support back. So I'm sure we've gone through it, like I said, it's just a recap session. We have types of parents or parenting. The kind of parenting style we adopt as a way of affecting the child's performance now and more importantly in the future. So that is why we need to know the style we are adopting, that it has to be healthy, that will aid the development of that child, because that is what will form the child's habit, the character, the discipline, and will eventually influence him or her for the rest of his or her life. Researchers came up with 4 main types of parenting. They talked about the authoritarian parent, the one that has no other explanation. When the child asks, why do you want me to do this, daddy, mommy? Because I said so. Because mommy said so, because daddy said so. And such children, they end up with having self-esteem issues later in life because they just have to do things because somebody said they should. Then we have the authoritative parent who engages in positive discipline strategies. They get the child involved in the parenting style they want to use. When they are to punish the child, they let the child know why they are punishing the child. When they are appreciating the child, they let him or her be involved in the decision process. Such children, they tend to become responsible adults. We have the permissive parenting, the ones that believe kids will always be kids. Let them enjoy themselves. Anything goes. They can give rules. They don't bother to enforce it. They may not even bother to give rules. They easily negotiate with the child. What do you want? Okay, you can have it your way and stuff like that. The children of those kind of parents end up struggling through succeeding in life. They struggle in the academics. They struggle in businesses, in keeping jobs and everything because they've allowed them to always have their ways. And doesn't happen like that in the real world. We have the 4th one, uninvolved parenting. You know, we are used to talking of attention deficiency in children. We also have attention deficient parents. That's what I meant by that ADP is there. So many of them do not give attention to their children. They just believe things will get done. I'm making money. I'm giving you all the luxury you need. You too should think. Use your head. Even the children come to them at times, but they are not there to give their attention. They go making money, and then when this kind of children grow up, they end up having struggle with self-esteem issues. They don't know when they are right, they know when they are wrong because nobody is there to, nurture them, tell them what to do, when to do it, if it is bad, if it is wrong or right, among other such things. Now, it is important for us to know, either as a parent or as a supporter of parents, where do I fit in? Am I authoritarian? Am I focused on discipline and then punishment over discipline? You didn't do that. I told you not to do it. Dim, dim, dim. This is what will happen. Or am I authoritative? I create positive relationship that enforce the rules. I like the child to know this is why I wanted to do this. This is what will likely happen if you don't do it. And when it happens that the child flaunts that rule, I am going to make sure I deliver my promise, either of the punishment or of the reward. So am I an authoritative parent? We have the permissive parent, anything goes, kids will be kids kind of parents. They don't enforce rules. They will just believe, let the child do whatever. When it will outgrow it with time, And of course, they're uninvolved. They are never there. They provide little guidance and then no nurturing, no attention. And God will help us either as parents or guidance or supporters to know which one to belong to. And then I did add one, making it a fifth. There could be a time where you have to be a hybrid of all these four. There are times you need to be authoritarian, at times you need to be authoritative. Sometimes it can be permissive, sometimes, but more often than not, you should always be available. You know, I have a very recently, just 2 days ago, a case on this being an hybrid parent. You know, I've been a teacher the last 17, 18 years or thereabout. And then recently, 7 months back, I was privileged to be the vice principal academics where I work. So though the enforcing of rules is not really like spelled out for me as part of my jurisdiction, but some of us cannot not see and then not say or act, you know. So the children know when they want to go. So they just finished their exams last Thursday. Then, so I said there's not going to be afternoon prep. Meanwhile, there's a certain class, a group of JSS1 students who had planned a classroom party during the afternoon prep. So I gave them the shock of their life. I announced that it's not going to be afternoon prep. They met me, in fact, they cornered me somewhere in the school environment. And one very small one among them just came. Everyone said, no, let me be done to talk. It's okay, just speak and speak. Said, Auntie, actually, this is how she started. Auntie, we know it is against the school rules, but 2 of our classmates are having their birthdays, and we have planned that we're going to celebrate them in class today, but now no afternoon prep. I said, we've instructed, nobody goes to the classroom, and I go back to say, Auntie, please now, we know, just see, we're not going to make any noise. We have our provisions, our drinks, we're just going to, I said, okay, where's the class teacher? I said, Auntie, you know, now you gave the rule, they will not allow us. So they came to me, the one that gave the rule, because they needed it to be broken. And they were so, you know, children. So I said, okay. All right. I said, Auntie, you know what? We don't have to go to class. We can actually just sit down here. That was how they sat down the covert just behind the library. So these students meant business today. So they brought out their celebration drinks. And guess what? Cake is not allowed in school, interestingly. So they made gari, that is cassava flakes, and I think bonfita, milk. They just call this cake. They just want to celebrate themselves. I was watching them. They brought out drink and was sharing. Open your mouth, one cup, you know. Then there and then, my boss had told me some days back that we have a cake sent to us from our pastor's wife who had a birthday, that we should come and share it amongst ourselves. I've not had time. She called me, has called the chaplain. I just saw 2 students taking that cake, big, huge cake, to the chaplain's office. I just followed them. I got there. It is against the school rules to even have cake, a decorated cake. I followed them, cut a bit of the cake, and then I called one of my colleagues I kept to the children. How many I counted it? And I came, I said, you know what? I think God just wants to prove a point to us. You know, despite this little beginning. You started with gari cake. And guess what? I just unveiled the cake. And they are not knowing the girl they were celebrating. I didn't know it was the same girl I bagged, because she literally fainted last Saturday. She was sick. And she stayed in the hostel. She didn't eat until her friends came around. And then I had to rush her to the clinic, bagged her, took her into the school car, rushed her to the clinic. I did not know she was a birthday girl. That was a week before that God knows what would have happened. So there are times you combine all of this, and yet nothing diminished from the authority they know I had. Do you know the most touching part of this student? They had just maybe 6 or 7 bottles of drink. They reserved one for me, and had the presentation of thank you, you know. So there are ways we can fit in and get all of this parenting style into one, and then we still achieve our purpose. So all said and done about definition, now to the main topic, supporting parents. One of the most graphical examples of support was the account of what Aaron and Hur did for Moses in Exodus 17:12-14. Without Moses' hands up, what's his name, was losing. Caleb, or I can't remember right now, was losing. That's in the battle. But with Aaron and holding him, you know, everybody knows, but he got to a stage, even they got tired. Moses got tired, if there's any such word. Just like Doctor has said, there is no prize for being the most tired out parent or supporting parent. You know, so they went there, got a stone, stood him upright, and then till the battle was done, the children of Israel went to win. And the Bible says, the Lord said to Moses, write an account of this victory so that it will be remembered. The victory won by support. Like Doctor mentioned, by the support team that Moses had. So we can support parents in several ways. Because I tell you, like the Bible says, enough for the day is the problem thereof. Everybody has a share of it one way or the other. So when parents have issues, you can physically support by talking with them about it, visiting them, giving a call, showing that you care, giving attention, being there for them, let them know that you are there. Sometimes it's just your presence that matters, or a call or a text message. Like just this morning, I was going through a lot of things. Naturally, everybody, even teachers need support, you know, at work. And guess what call I got? It was a student of mine. She's not a barrister. I mean, like my lordship, my lordship, you know, she said she just heard that I'm not the vice principal. She said all manner of beautiful things. I had to beg her, please don't let me tear up this morning. She may not know what that call did for me today, because I am in a state where I need that reassurance. I told her, you know what? When I remember one or two of you like this, then I know my job is done. So we give that attention, give that call, give that care physically. We can support parents that way. And in fact, when you look at the definition of support, it talks a lot about finances. And we all know what Exodus 10:19 says, that money answereth all things. You may not know what somebody needs per time, but if we can find a way of getting across to that person, some people are able to ask, many are not able to. We can find out, know where to help, and be able to give that financial support to parents, especially when you see a struggling one, a single parent, either single mother or single father, a widow, a widower, just any way you can help. That it will go a long way, no matter how little it is. And very importantly, we have the emotional support for parents. Everybody needs an encouragement. Like Doctor also reiterated, a pat on the back, being there for each other, showing compassion. Because though like our faces and names and a lot of things are different, that is how we have our own different shares of issues. So when you know that somebody cares about you, somebody is encouraging you, giving that reassurance that's going to be fine. You can share testimony. I've seen somebody who went through this, the person put out fine, blah, blah, blah. You know, just being there, giving that emotional support will go a long way. We've had cases of people who are at the brink of committing suicide, but just a word at the right time, a call, a message, just change the narrative. That the person didn't know the extent of what he or she has done until the matter happened. Sometimes all we need to do is just to listen. Let them just express themselves. Let them just talk. Let them just say it as it is. Don't judge them, because it is the person that wears the shoes that know exactly where it's hurting. So don't judge. You can't use one case to determine how every other one will be. As much as possible, let us compliment one another. You are doing great. You can get better. Like just yesterday, one of my students, interesting, is now in SS3. That is our final years in secondary school here. Then I was talking to them generally about something, and then he came up and said, Auntie, I want to say thank you. I said, for what? He said, for what you did for me in JSS1. That was 6 years ago. He said he scored 0 in my test, and I, of course, wrote 0 over whatever. Sometimes because I don't want to be tempted to put pom-pom, you know the way our teachers used to do in those days, where they would do our eyes, and so I will actually write 0 in words, 0 over whatever the person has scored. And I reprimanded him. But personally, he told me this. I didn't remember, even often, I didn't remember the story. He said, I called him, I told him that, fine, you didn't do well in this test now, but you can do well in other things. You can do well in drama. You can do well in sport. You can. Up to now, I didn't remember that conversation held. You know. So he said the reason why his mother brought him to our school is because the school was going to before. He said the mother said he's playing football too much. Then after I told him that, then we had another test. He was able to score 10 over 10. Then I wrote excellent. I wrote some, I can't remember. Then I wrote all of those things, and then that geared him up. And in JSS2, he joined the school team, the school football team, and we went for a competition around across the whole of our state, and we won. Then he got the most valuable player award. Got home, took the award home. The man said, "What is MVP?" Said it means most valuable player. Say, you're going to start playing ball again. You this I took you away from that place because of football. So he called the teacher in charge, and that one explained before you know it. Now my boy is here in Nigeria just because he needed to finish his O levels. Right now, he has gotten a 100% scholarship into a football academy somewhere in UK. And he prostrated yesterday, said, "Auntie, you started it for me." I didn't know that story. Just a compliment that I put in a script, you know. So we don't know how far those things can go emotionally to a parent or to a child. So we support their solutions. If they come to you for advice, this is what I think I should do, you can guide them through it. But no, you can't do that. Like the one that doctor referred to, that don't you know washing machine? I've been using washing machine. It washes clean. I don't know where. You know, so don't judge their solutions, support it as much as possible. In any case, give guidance. Well, your solution is good, but how about, you know, not that you just, you know, stamp it down like it doesn't matter. You don't have else to think with. And the final, and for me, the most important one is the spiritual support we can give parents. Because it is from there, like Doctor also said, that we will know exactly what kind of support somebody needs. Someone may need financial. You may, with spiritual intuition, with inspiration of God, you can know exactly what to say. We've seen cases where, as Christians, we go out on evangelism. I used to pray God, because we have different tracks. Maybe don't I talking of marriage, don't I talking academic success, business breakthrough. God, help guide my hands to give the right track to the right person. And we've had several testimonies how the person was going to do this, and then they gave him a track that met up exactly to the point of that person's need. So spiritual support is central to all kinds of support you can give anybody, because that way you are guided. Your mouth becomes an extension of God's mouth. Your hands become an extension of God's mouth. Even your finances becomes an extension of God's largesse to that person. And then God will help us all to be good parents and then good supporters. And like I said, Doctor also talked about playing our part. You know, Acts 20:35 talks about it being more of a blessing to give than to receive. The fact remains that there is blessing for both. So either you are receiving support or you are giving support. Either way, you are going to get blessed. One may be more than the other. It may be you giving today, it may be you receiving tomorrow. So what do we need to do in playing our part to receive support and to give support? Before I go to the next slide, because I actually wanted to animate it one by one, but it didn't come out like that. To receive support, there are 7 steps available. Number 1 step, you will see now. Can you see? There are 7 steps outlined in receiving support. Number 1, ask. 2, ask. 3. When I was doing, I said probably that is why God placed it in Matthew 7:7, because it is perfect. Many a times, nobody knows what you are going through. It is not written on the air. Some of us may not be able to mask our emotions. Somebody will know. They will know something is wrong, but they can't know exactly what is wrong. But many a times, some of us are good at, like, I have this program I run for my students. So there is the question for recovery of password if you lose it. So I chose for all of them, who is your favorite actor was the question, and the answer is me, because my children can act. They can act. So some of us can act. We can cover up whatever we are going through. One of my mentors, actually one of I'm talking about, you know, to tell me you know her very well. She was one that told me that it is pride to need help and not ask for it. I'm thinking I should not bother you. Say, no, it is pride. You are saying, I am alone, I can do it on my own, I am all in all. So not asking for help, not asking for support is a kind of pride, and it has gotten a lot of people in trouble many times. So the most we get is either yes or a no, but it should not be like you didn't try at all to ask. So please, to receive support, you need to ask for it. That is why in one of the definitions of support, he said, for those that need them. Because some people will be like, well, I don't need to go out if he doesn't want this one now. You're the one that needs something from me. You know, it's not like you are seeing yourself as a beggar who has no choice, but putting yourself out there for, like a doctor said, you have to choose, of course, your support system. Not somebody that you ask them, that's what your friend said, and she'll be dressing up, glamming up, and you will be, no, you ask, and then with the spiritual help, the inspiration of God, you even know who to ask and even when. So please don't think you're a bother to somebody enough to not ask, and don't think you are too much to ask. So when you need to receive support, please go on and ask. And then for those of us that will be in the supporters club, okay, I think the first rule for me is be empathetic. There is no how hard you can try to put yourself in somebody's shoes and it will fit properly. But we can just try to show empathy. Let's listen to them. Let's allow them be themselves. Let's allow them talk, say it's the way they want it and everything. Just show that support. Don't be too quick to know exactly what is wrong, how it happened, the reason why it happened, and the reason why it will happen again the next time they do it, this and that. So just be empathetic. Even if you've gone through that situation, it is still not the same you. Pastor Koya of Blessed Memories to tell us there are no two marriages that are the same. And so we can't say there's a general way for every specific one. No. So even though you've been through that thing, just still be empathetic with that person, and then to go a long way in supporting them. Now, we need to allow people to make their mistakes. Nobody is perfect. Sometimes it is difficult at times to learn from mistakes. But I had the case of my cousin. One day she was tending our nephew. There was no light, and they had this candle light on or thereabout. So she was pulling the boy away. Don't go there. Don't go there. The boy kept coming. He got to a stage. She did like this. And the boy touched the candle. Hey! The mother screamed, okay, why did you allow me to say? You will see, he won't go there again. In fact, she now put the candle light to the boy ran. So sometimes, let people make their mistakes. Nobody is perfect. You could actually have things planned. For instance, I dated my husband for a whopping 12 years. You would think I can write a book on marriage, knowing your man, understanding yourself. After all, we were friends for 12 years. But till today, July 24th, how many years after, plus the marriage, plus the time I know him, we are still getting surprises. The only good thing is that there are most of the time pleasant surprises. So there is no how you can know everything. You can plan it, but the Bible says many are the plans in the heart of a man, but the answers of the tongue lies with God. So because somebody makes a mistake doesn't mean you should pull them down. You should not leave a wounded soldier. So there's no one size fits all in parenting or supporting. It can be different. For instance, we know in education, don't compare children, don't relate this. I've had a case of a child that had all her notes incomplete, several weeks not incomplete, and I was marking and needed to give her. Say, why are you like this? Your sister is not like this. She don't give me this kind of stress when I taught her. I had that conversation with this girl around 4 or 5 p.m. because I was doing afternoon prep. The next class I had in our stream was 8:10 a.m. the next morning. Lo and behold, my baby's notes are completed in our own writing because I compared her with her sister. Meanwhile, there's another one. I said, hope you will not be like your sister in this school, because that one was a bad example. Till tomorrow, that girl does not greet me again. So there's no one size fits all. If you think it works with this, it may not work with that one. Okay, so we have to, that is where the spiritual aspect comes in. That God, I really want to help, I really want to be a good parent, I really want to be a good supporter. How do I go about it? So we all need support one way or another. We need to support each other one way or another. So I may be the one receiving today, I may be the one giving today. So it is all round. When you are flushing it down my throat, then it's no longer a support. But that means it's not a choke, you are choking me. I did this for you, I did that for you. That is why some people find it difficult to ask. So please, let's more often than not, as much as possible, especially when we're in the same environment, let's be anonymous with our support. The whole world does not need to know. You don't need to, like the case of this, my brother, he just told me this yesterday, what I did for him 6 years ago, that I did not even remember up till now. So don't flush support down somebody's throat. If they ask, fine. If they don't ask and then you render it, fine, no big deal. Let it just go. Don't choke it down there. Don't force it on them. It doesn't have to be by force. And no one is an island. When I is replaced with we, I just saw that meme, I think, today somewhere. He said, even illness will become wellness. So everybody needs that support system. Everybody needs to be, in those places at different times. We'll be the one receiving today, be the one giving tomorrow. So let us know that we are all together. And yes, thank God. Final note. So for both the bio and the logical parents, this is more of what we do for high schoolers. You need to be the sleep police. Because when your child doesn't sleep on time, it affects his achievements or whatever he will be able to accomplish the next day. So make sure your child has good sleep. Then don't discount their stress. What is it? When I was your age, I was farming. I was, like there was something, one of my platform. The question was, is it good to ask an 11-year-old girl to go to the market herself? Somebody responded, 11-year-old. There was no way I've not hugged the whole of Agege at that time. What are you talking about? To go to the market to go and buy something. Me, I hugged around. So we had different schedules during our time, during our parents' time. Everything is different. So don't discount their stress. You may not know how their body feels per time. Listen more than you lecture. And that talks to us teachers too. I know when my students are no longer there in class. And just be like, Kola, come back to class. The classmates will, he's here, but I know he has gone because I'm not lecturing, I'm not getting his attention. Don't sweat all the small stores. Your bed is not late. You did not do this. You did not do that. I remembered one Christian movie like that. The mother was taking the son for a swimming class, and then as they got out of the car, they were entering the swimming pool. Said, you did not throw the bin today. That was eventually the boy hit his head in the pool and died. So when people were coming to comfort her, she said, my last words to him was, you did not take out the bin. She felt so bad. She didn't know the boy was never going to be there again to take out the bin. So don't sweat all the small stuff. The days they do it well, fine. We don't give and take. So go to every or as many events as possible. It gives them this moral boost that my dad is there, my mom is there, my sister, my brother, my supporter, my guardian is there. So as much as possible, then spend one-on-one time as often as possible with them so that they don't feel left alone on their own, either as a parent or the biological or the logical one. Then push them out of their comfort zones. Oh, it is time. If not for time, I can tell you a lot of how God has helped us to transform the lives. In fact, one of the part of the school stanza here is matchlessly molding destinies. We've seen changes in the lives of children by the reason of how we're able to push them out of their comfort zones, giving all it takes and everything. So please, let us not let them be just there. This is the only thing I like to do. This is the only thing I like to eat and stuff like that. Put them out of, and then create a decision-rich environment. Let them be able to decide. Let them be in the knowledge of what you are doing part time. Carry them along so that they are involved. And like somebody told me how many days ago when I was saying, I don't know, am I ready? I don't know. So that is smiling at me. The doctor said, last, you will do fine. So last, it will work out. Either as a parent, either as a supporter, the moment you put everything in the hands of God, it will definitely pan out. And I believe that's the last slide. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much, Victoria. You might stop sharing your screen now. It's a good thing that I was muted, otherwise you might have heard me laugh. It's obvious that my friend is, she says her children are good in drama. I think she herself is a drama queen. So, there's something she said. She said, we cannot see and not see. So this time of nothing concern me, I'm going. Yoruba, we say, Agbakiwa loja kori omo tutun ro. So we say one person gives back to a child, the whole community takes care of a child. And you can hear her say, my children, my children, my children. So in your case, your reward will not be in heaven, no, it will start from on earth. Say amen. Yeah, so there were lots of highlights in what she said. You are somebody's solution. It is blessed to give. It is blessed to receive. It is good to ask when you need help. Don't be proud. Be humble if you need help. If you need to ask questions, ask. And ask the right people, like our previous speaker said. There are many sides of supporting parents and supporting children. And in supporting children, we are supporting their parents, because once they turn out as better children, their parents are supported and happy. So that's another thing. Very important point she mentioned about being anonymous with your support. Of course, you cannot be anonymous if everybody is loud in it, but as much as lies in you, it shouldn't be you blowing your own trumpet. So the wise man in Proverbs says. And then that sad story she mentioned just made me think, be careful with your last words to your spouse, to your colleague, to your children. Let it be, I'll miss you, I love you, things like that. Thank you, good to see you. Thank you for doing this. Those are just things to think about. The other thing is that support is not by force. Don't flush it down somebody's throat. In that case, it's not support, it's choking. And yes, someone has put in the chat box, listen more than you lecture. I needed to hear that. Really amazing presentation. Thank you for all you do for the students. God bless you. You will not lose your reward. Thank you for affirming that child. Heartwarming indeed. In fact, I had a tear in my eye. That was just an amazing story. And I know there are so many other stories of lives that have been turned around by just having that teacher that believed in you and said the right things. For instance, I have an amazing boss at work who's like a mother, and it just reminded me of her when she spoke about that. So thank you very much for sharing with us. We could see all her effigy. My friend Victoria had her first and second degree in computer science, so she's one of those nerdy ones. Thank you. Awesome to have you. If we have any questions, let's put in the chat box. I will just go very quickly to our third contributor for today. Thank you again, Victoria. Okay, and our third contributor is a lovely lady. Her name is Dr. Ajibola Oshire. There she is. You can unmute yourself. She's the one that I was describing, trained in Russia. She's the first person I knew that trained in Russia and speaks Russian. So you can expect me to flaunt it a bit. Okay, so she's trained in Russia. You can see a very glamorous look, fashionista. She's a great friend as well. And she's a GP in the UK. Okay, and so she'll be giving us her practical experience about supporting parents, and she has some great things to say. Thank you for joining us, Ajibola.
Thanks, Tammy. Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here today. Very busy and tight schedule, but I had to come through for her. She's a very good sister to me, and it's such a huge honor to be invited to speak here. And I also want to acknowledge the presence of my darling husband. Adekunle is here on the chat just to support me. Yeah, Dr. Tim has just said some things about me, but I'd like to give you a very brief background with me. So I came from a family of 6 children, and growing up was quite tough. And so my ideas on parenting and on, you know, being a mother, being a father, being a parent, whatever you call it, it's a little bit maybe not so main street, let me say that, because I think for most part of my life, I didn't want to be a parent at all. I didn't want children because I just felt like children. So I'll give you my background of how I see parenting. I see children as people who belong to God, and you will choose to give some people children, and some would not have children. So you could see some people, they will do IVF like maybe 100 times. They won't have any child. And then some teenagers are just getting their frequent on, you know, like we say in Yoruba, Lara Ogiri, like, you know, and then before you can say Jack, they have a child. So I believe it's a huge responsibility. God gives you these humans to look after, to nurture, to bring them up in the way of God. And so I think it's a huge responsibility to be a parent. So some years ago, I decided that, okay, yeah, I'm going to, I'll be a parent. When I got convinced that I could take that role on properly, and of course, with the support of my very amazing husband, you know, is the daddies of them all, you know. Right. Okay. So I'll just get on into it. Right. Given the premise that, you know, parenting is not a joke, you know, you're responsible for the life of a whole human being. I am really, you know, I'm the type, for example, I appreciate fashion. So if someone is looking really good, I walk up to people on the street, I'm like, wow, you look good. And I give them a smile and I keep it walking. The same way when I see people who are actually doing the parenting thing, you know, I'm just so proud of them. And I see them that they are doing something huge. So even when I didn't want children, I was very happy to support parenting. I support parents. I still do. In fact, I'm known as Auntie AJ of Grimsby because I'm the favorite auntie of all the kids. They love me, you know. They love me. I love them. They're all over me. And that's awesome. Some of their parents too, they call me Auntie AJ just because of their children. Anyway, I really enjoyed that. So there are so many ways in which you can support parents. I really appreciate what the last speaker said. You know, she gave us the perspective of being a teacher, an educator. Very beautiful perspective. I'm just giving my perspective from being Auntie AJ for all the children, you know. Right. So the first thing to remember when you're supporting parents is that they are not your children. Okay, they are not your children. No matter how good the uncle or friend or auntie you are, sorry, they are not your children. So it should be about the parents. Remember, you're supporting. You're not here to parent the children. You're here to support whatever it is their parents are already doing. Okay, you know, I'll give you a good example. Some parents raise their children to be very independent and bossy, and you know, you can't tell them nothing. They will stand up to you as an adult. They will say, oh no, I don't want that, I don't want to eat that, I don't want to do that. Really? And you know, for me, I think when I become a parent, you know, I'll just tell my children, sit down there. They say, yes, ma'am, you know. But that's what I want. But these children are not my children. So why should I try to force my ideologies on these children that are being nurtured? You know what? When it's my own time, God will give me the children I gotta be telling to sit down there. So God gave these particular children to the parents that will bring them up to be authoritative. You know what? Maybe God is trying to bring these children to the world to become maybe head of states of a military country later. You know what I mean? So they need to be bossy and authoritative. So I'm not here to spoil the good thing God is already doing in their lives by giving them to such parents. Okay, so what do? Like if they tell me to babysit a child like that, I'll just politely decline. I just say, I'm so sorry, that weekend I'm busy. Yes. Or I would, except if I'm happy to suffer through it, you know. I literally said to a friend of mine, I'm sorry, I would watch your kid, but I'm not ready to be rolling on the ground for a 2-year-old. I just said it like that to the parents' face. That's it. So I will support them in parenting that child by prayers. I spend time with the child. You know, sometimes the mother needs to rest. The father can bring the child to my house. The mom is sleeping at home or resting, doing her thing, but the father is there to be, taking care of all the tantrums. I don't have to do that, to be a good supporter. I can support by giving presents, etc., other things I could do. Right. And so, and there are some other children whom I'm babysitting that, I know their parents, are very stern with them. So personally, I would never discipline somebody else's child. Again, they are not my children, you get. So, but I know some of the children, I could say, hey, go stand in the naughty corner, because I know their parents might, give them a small smack. So saying stand in the naughty corner, the parents will be happy. They will be happy I actually told the child off for misbehaving, So that's one thing. You need to make all your supports kind of tailor-made, like individualize it, personalize it. You don't have to be doing giving the same support to every child you come across. Okay. The second thing is that you need to use wisdom. Wisdom is profitable to direct. Apply wisdom when you are supporting. Because I'm anti-AJ, because I don't have to see when they are tired, or you see those children at a particular phase, maybe when they are happy that day, tomorrow they're sad, but their parents is the one staying with them all the time, sees them when they are sad, upset, this, that. So because when I come, it's all rainbows and candies and all like presents, they tend to confide in me, Auntie AJ, ABCD happened in school. Auntie AJ, somebody said that to me. Auntie AJ, they tell me stuff. Now, wisdom is knowing that there are some things you must not keep to yourself. You need to, even though you want to be in the child's good book, remember, not your children. Yeah. So you will still need to confide you need to just tell the parents. So what I do is, okay, so person, your child told me so. I'm telling you in confidence. She doesn't need to know I told you. Just you found out in some way, but I've told you. And then there are some things, very simple, negligible things I don't really necessarily need to tell their parents, because the last thing you want to do is you breach the confidence. They can't talk to their parents already. They are not telling their teachers, and they are not telling you that God has now put you in that strategic position to be of help. But because you are like a blabbermouth, they're not going to confide in you anymore. And, children go through a lot. They are, it's one of the things I've realized from spending time with children. They are humans. They have their feelings. They have pride. They have dignity. Respect that. So as an adult too, if you tell someone something and they go blabbing about, you don't want to tell them anymore. Okay, right. So the next thing I want to talk about is that please do not overdo the supporting thing. Let's look at football. You have supporters. I'm not too huge of a football fan, but I believe there could be some consequences if the fan is so happy that he just runs on the field whilst a game is going on. You don't need that. Don't overdo things. Okay. One of the things I try to make sure I do is that even though my friends who have kids, or they know they can call on me to help them with their maybe, oh, please, can you help me pick my child from school? Oh, please, can you help me watch them for so day? They know they can call on me, but they also know not to plan their lives around me. Yeah, because even though I'm not a parent yet, I have other things I'm doing with my time. I'm not your nanny. Do you get what I mean? So don't overdo the support thing such that you now allow them to plan all they already say, oh, Don't worry, we just call AJ. Now, she AJ is there. AJ, she no get charged. She no get what she they do with her life. She really, you know, what if for that day, that Saturday, all I want to do is to put my video on and dance and record myself. Hello, it's my time, because I'll still do the parenting thing. Let me rest now. Let me rest. Most parents, they say they don't sleep. So what if I want to sleep for 12 hours today? Hello. So don't overdo it, you know, and it's not just time. Sometimes it's finances. Okay. Looking at the names on the list, a lot of us are from Nigeria. You have this thing where, okay, you want to help people, you give them money, you pay their school fees. Really? And then some people, they would go and give birth to a child they cannot train, just because they say, Temi will pay the school fees now. Shebi Temi is already paying the school fees for Bolanle. Let's give birth to another child. No, this thing, it sounds like a joke, but it actually happened to a very close friend of mine. The mom was super rich and the uncle was super poor. And then she small thing, Belle don't stand again. Kabiru, what is happening here now? Child number 6, how are you doing it? He said, my auntie so we should be my auntie so is there. How about that? It means at one point or the other, she probably was overdoing the supporting parenting thing. Now, unfortunately, she's late. My friend's mom is late. The child they went to go and get Belle to give birth to, and they tied the child's destiny on our continuing financial support. What will happen to the destiny of that child now? Do you get what I mean? So be there, but we need to be, doing the moderation thing in everything we are doing, everything. Now, talking about moderation, right? I am being myself most of the time, but of course, there are some things you shouldn't do in some particular places, okay? So I personally, I love piercings, I love tattoos. That's me. Those things make me happy, okay? So why should I come and be throwing my happiness in the faces of these children whose parents, what we call SU in Nigeria, maybe they don't wear earrings. And me, I'm not coming brandishing all my tattoo. No. There are certain, so we all know this. For example, if I were to be going to an official medical thing in Nigeria, in UK, I can go like this to work. People are interested in my brain. But in Nigeria, people are interested in the way I look, I wouldn't dress like this to work in Nigeria. So the same way, when I'm spending time with some certain children, when I know they may not understand why Auntie AJ is a doctor. Auntie AJ is a doctor, she's successful. If she can do it, why can't I do it? I don't need to come and show the whole of myself to them yet. They will find out later that Auntie AJ can wear tattoos and still be successful as a doctor, okay? They don't need to know that now. So I don't need to come and be showing all of myself, displaying all the way I talk. No, when the children are there, it's not like you are pretending, but try to change or make some adjustments to the way you talk, your language. Another example I will use is that I have friends who are Muslim. I have those who are like Hindu and all that. I'm a Christian. I'm the choir mistress of my church. But I don't need to come and be, let me see how I'll frame this so that I don't offend people that are like SU on the audience, okay? Right. I don't have to, it is not my role to come and be doing the evangelism thing to the children when I am babysitting them, okay? Shebi God knows what he was doing when he gave those children to the Hindu family, right? When the parents asked me to babysit them, they just want me to keep them safe till they are back, right? That's all. They just feed them Don't kill them. Don't let them end up in emergency room. Don't teach them bad things. Don't abuse them. Please, I think the spiritual aspect of it, please leave it to the parents, okay? What can you do? You are a Christian burning on fire for God. You want to evangelize and all these Muslim children around. Please go in your room and pray, okay? Pray or wait till they are adults and they can make decisions for themselves about what religion they want. But please don't shove your, you know that shoving thing. Don't choke them with your religion. Please try. Yes. So the other thing I want to talk about is about the other ways you can support parenting. Just tiny words of encouragement. See, sometimes all the mothers, especially new mothers, all they want to hear is, you are doing well. In fact, that's all they need to hear. One of my friend's kids, so I'm coming from a birthday party right now, and the children are there all dressed in their superhero looking all fly. I'm serving them. In fact, I think I must have served up to 30 children. Only 2 of them said thank you. Okay. One of them, I'm just meeting one of them for the first time today. Assuming I knew the parents of that child, I normally say, oh, you're doing a very good job with your son. One of them is my friend's kids. I always tell the mother, you are doing a very good job raising your son. I'll speak to the parents later, maybe this evening or tomorrow, to tell them that, you know what, your child was among the 2 children in that huge populace who said thank you, because the rest, they're like, she's a server, she's serving me now. So just give them good feedbacks. Oh, your child greeted me today. You are doing very well. See, it will just encourage them to do better. You know how footballers are playing football. Maybe you say, maybe you're a fan, you're there, and you are not shouting, you are not clapping, and you'll be like, maybe they are paying them. No, they need that accolade. That's why, if you're familiar with football, there's home game and away. Players do better at home because they have a lot of their fans there. So sometimes just clapping to say, you're doing very well. Other ways you can do is to pray for these people, okay? Pray. Like I said, my husband and I, we don't have a child yet, but we always randomly pray for the children of our friends, of our maybe neighbors, our siblings. We just pray for them. Pray blessings into their lives. I was speaking to a very well-to-do person today, and he was like, when will you come and be giving me money? I'm like, are you trying to mock me? But I was like, actually, if we are familiar with the biblical story about Job, he lost his children, he lost all his money, he lost his health, he was just a destitute. If you, from chapter 1 to chapter 31, problem, one calamity after the calamity. But something happened in Job 31 or 38, whichever is the last chapter. He said, and Job prayed for his friend, and God turned around his misfortune. Right. So don't wait till you are a parent before you start praying for. Anyway, I think it's about the way I understand parenting, that the children belong to God. Okay, so God's children in the family of so people, let's pour prayers on them today. God's children in the family of so let's pour prayers into them today. So your time, your finances, and again, moderation. I've had one of my friend's kid, if she asked her dad for money to buy toy, she had loads and loads of toys, and then she asked for more. And then the father said, no, you have more than enough toys. She just looked at her father like this. Don't worry, just keep your money. My auntie AJ will give me money. Hey, when that happened, I had to slow down on giving presents to that particular child and the siblings. And also, there was also another one. I think she spoiled a tablet, this tablet. And then I decided to get her another one. But I knew if I gave it to her straight away, she would not learn her lessons. Her parents, I'm sure both of them combined, they are way, way richer than myself. So they could buy the tablet, but they wouldn't buy it to teach the child a lesson. So it wasn't my place to come and force rich auntie vibes on that child, whilst the mom was trying to teach the child a lesson. So if you want to buy presents, sometimes, see, it's not pride, it's not anything. Just ask the parent, may I buy so for your child? Permission, not your child, not your children. Okay, so in summary, children, they belong to God, and He gives them to parents to look after, nurture them in the way of God, until they become adults and they can make their own decisions. 2, remember to support parents in an individualized or personalized manner. It is not about you. It is about how the parents want to raise their own children. Well, as a doctor, I'll tell you, if you see someone that is abusing their child, hello, please tell the police or safeguarding team. We say in the UK, if I see you maybe sexually harassing your child, of course I'm not going to keep quiet and say, hey, it's not my child. No. They are God's children, and I have a point of duty to do what we call safeguarding. So if I see a child is going to be in danger, then I'm going to speak up. I won't keep quiet about that, right? Also, remember, do not overdo your things. Moderation. Don't be the one that will be making the children to disobey and disrespect their parents just because, they say, my auntie is there now. Maybe I will just vex and leave the house. My auntie, no, it's not nice. It's not acceptable at all. Use wisdom. Know the things they tell you, you will tell the parents. Know the things they tell you, you need to tell the police. Yeah, there are some of those. Know the things they tell you, you need to keep mute about it so that they have you as their confidant. And remember, you are not trying to replace the parents. You are not. So after saying point 1, I would say you are not their parents. Point 2, remember, they are not your children, okay? And also, don't be too available. Don't make these parents now plan the whole of their life and their social calendar around your availability. Now, child, keep person, okay? Yes, you have for that, even if you are sleeping. In fact, you need to sleep and rest so that when you now start waking up, in obstetric, when I start having children, I'm seen as an elderly mother. So I will still be holding the baby and my husband will be doing that. Baby, you'll be the one doing the midnight thing. Anyway, jokes apart, let me gather all my energy now. So if I say, I'm sorry, I'm busy this weekend, don't ask me, what are you busy doing? There are other things. I'm sleeping. I'm watching Netflix, okay? So don't make the parents feel like, she doesn't have anything to do with his life. She doesn't have to. You cannot afford to be too available. Another point, not your child, okay? You are not the parents. Let us be coming down small, okay? Yes, and remember, prayer, finances, time, in any other way you can support the parents. They are not your children, they are God's children. God has given them to some people. They are the boss people. They are doing it. They are doing a good job. Support them, good feedback, encourage them. And I just pray that, I want to say this prayer in Yoruba. That means we will not be found wanting or faulty, will not be condemned at the last day due to our parenting style or the way we've been supporting parents. Because if at the end of the day, God has put you strategically in a position where you could support those parents, it means you are parenting also. I pray we would not end up receiving condemnation or missing heaven or missing destiny due to our parenting skills and styles. And also, may we not do anything that will destroy the destiny of these children of God. They are children of God. They are humans. Their lives are precious. Their destiny are precious. Every time I interact with, I call them my kiddies, my children. Every time I interact with them, I have an opportunity to shape them, to mold them, to deposit something into their destiny. And I pray God will help me to continue to deposit something good into their destiny always. So thank you very much for listening to this talk. Adekunle, thank you for joining me all the way from US. I love you. And, yeah, I can't wait for us to do the parenting thing together. Yes, you'll be the one. I've been sitting at night. I'm going to be sleeping. Thank you. Thank you very much.
She had to slot that in. Thank you very much, AJ. It's been lovely hearing AJ. You can see AJ is very candid, very passionate. She's passed all her points across in a way that is unmistakable. And big shout outs to her husband in the US. Thanks for joining us. So big thank you to our speakers today. Thank you to all our listeners. Thank you for sharing your afternoon with us on a Saturday. I know it's very precious time. So I don't know, I think someone had asked a question about in a situation where you have someone who asks but does nothing to earn a living, and you have tried all you could to make that person do something, but the person is not willing, will you continue to give? I think AJ wants to answer that question. You can unmute yourself.
Okay, so I am going to answer that question with a very candid, practical life example. So part of the ways I learned parenting was from my two younger brothers. Without saying too much, one of them was trying to, not do something good for his life, okay? Every time, Anjibola, Njare, Mu, Eo Bebe, Komi, Amanikiti Babe, so I speak all the languages. Yeah. Anjibola, Ejo, so let me go switch back to English. Please, may I have so money? I'll give. Can I have this? I'll give. Please, when are you going to do something? When are you going back to school? When do you want to learn a trade? Don't worry. Then one day, Auntie Jibola, please, I have toothache. Can I have 1,500 naira? 1,500 naira to buy antibiotics. I said, Jo, aburo mi, àìsàn yẹn ló máa pa ẹ́ torí mi ní 1,500 naira. So I said, now that sickness go kill you because I don't have 1,500 naira. That I refuse and I reject to be the one giving my younger ones 1,500 naira. It's too small. I'm like, don't be asking me for stupid money like that. You know what? Right now, I don't have 1,500 naira. But if you need 1 million naira today, right now, to go back to school or to do something for your life, I will give you 1 million naira for school or business, but I don't have 1,500 naira. I dropped the call. I put the phone down. I wept. I was in pain that this is my own blood brother. I said 1,000, but he's back in school now. And he's going to graduate soon, and he will make something out of his life. But that was the turning point. He didn't make a change until. So you have to be wicked. Sorry to the person who answered that question. You have wickedness is required. Sometimes just say no. When you say that no, go and cry. Don't let them see you cry. I cried to my husband. Yes, my husband will see me. We thought you'd be like, yeah, that's fine. But yeah. If you don't stop, it doesn't stop. They finish. problem, no dey finish. Let me just stop.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. There is a point to draw the line. Definitely. Thank you very, very much. So she's mentioned do what you can, personalize your support. Great points from Dr. Ajibola. I'm sure everybody will want to have somebody like Auntie AJ in their lives that replaces laptops and tablets, just there giving you. Thank you, everybody, for staying with us. So before we go, I'll just have final words from our speakers. I think Dr. Odubanjo will go first, followed by Ms. Victoria Adebayo. I think AJ has already given us her last point, and then we will just round up the meeting. Thank you all so much.
Final word to just say, build your support system. The Bible says that you don't prepare for war. You prepare for war in the time of peace. If you start preparing for war when war has started, it's then too late and you won't be ready. So when everything is going well, that's when you start testing the members of your army and making sure you test your garments of war, you test your fellow soldiers, you make sure that everything will work in the day of adversity, because a brother is born for the day of adversity. So build your support system. You don't set tests for your friends. I tell single people who are dating, and they say, oh, I set a test for this person. I want to check if he's generous. I will see if he gives me things. I will never give him anything. I will see if he gives me things. The enemy will test both of you. What you need, the Bible says, by their fruits you shall know them. Just keep your eyes open, and you will see them for who they are. So watch who doesn't cheer when you win. When you win, you share your success. Watch the person who seems to be angry and be very careful with that person. Don't ignore it. Don't wave it off. Don't act like it's nothing. Because there might be a message there, and maybe you need to be careful and watch your back. It is well with us all in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you very much for that. God bless you. Great to have you with us. Victoria, let's have your final words. Thank you.
Yes, I think I would say, in as much as we want to support each other, like Dr. AJ said, when you are remembering is not your child, remember you are not anybody's God. Let God's role be played by God. When you keep doing it all over and over and over and over again, everybody now think that you are their God. Like the case relate about the person that is now dead. So stay on your lane as much as possible. Extend the hands when you need to, but don't forget you are not anybody's God. There are instances where you say, if you don't give me this thing, the heaven will fall. Just give it time. Like today, I had an issue with my younger brother too, with issue of school fees and everything. My normal, compassionate Egbon would have. I stood my ground. Just before I came online, the wife called me. Auntie, he has settled it. My mama said, they're starting exams. Said they're starting exams. Doesn't have money now, this one, that one. But I waited. Heavens did not drop. I did not place God. And nothing happened. So in as much as we are supporting, let us know there are boundaries. If you offer the aid, they don't take it. Like a parent I called up, like, since I took this office, one thing I do is I don't keep any child misdemeanor, the one that is out of proportion to myself. Immediately the child asks, give me your daddy's number, mommy's number. Those ones I will say they don't have. All I just need to do is to get my laptop. I have all of their numbers. I'll call. Many of them, madam, nobody has called before. I said it's because I've been keeping quiet. Now we are going to be doing it. There was one case of a midnight issue in the hostel. I called the parents. They were sleeping. I kept calling to them. I said, I'm not sleeping in school. You will not sleep at home. Because, yes. And then, do you know what? The next time the mother visited, she came to my office with a gift. So we should know when to set the boundaries, and you are not anybody's God. Help as much as possible. You are not their God. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very, very much. Yes, it's awesome to support, but we should know where to draw the line. So Yoruba will say Orumajamo Koshoro. The heavens will fall. It's not the one person's heaven, and usually the heaven has not fallen yet. It might fall at the end of time, so let's be ready for those last days. But yes, thank you so much, everybody. It's been amazing being with all of us on this platform. I think we have really gained a lot. We've not had a lot of questions, but I think that's because our speakers have been extremely explicit. So we'll just end with our final words, which are, I and the children God has given me, we are for signs and wonders. We have our very last public Zoom next week, and it's going to be on safeguarding children and young adults. It promises to be an amazing time. We have 2 speakers. It's a very, very important topic. It's one that we will not want to overflog, but it's definitely one that we cannot ignore. It is important and we need to talk about it. So we will be talking about that next week. By God's grace, God will spare us. And then after that, in the in-house, we are going to have 4 Saturdays in which we are going to have people speaking. We're going to have a couple speaking. We're going to have single people speaking. We're going to have a minister speaking. It's going to be a really great time. And I think if you are not yet on the Find the Link Parenting WhatsApp group, this is the time to join. They are not going to be public Zooms like this. They are going to be in-house. I hope everybody in-house will take advantage of it. It's going to be amazing. So thank you, everyone, for staying this long with us. God bless you.